Welcome to this post Max Crosby, post DJ Moore, post Trent McDuffie, post Malone at the post office mailing postcards. And this video is, of course, sponsored by Post Cereal. Get your Fruity Pebbles today. Wilma! Don't worry, I'll edit that out in post. But booming, man, we clearly got a lot of post action up in here, and it's that time of the draft season where you're getting constant news, constant trades. So that means we got to keep going with these mock. We got 2 rounds, so let's see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. This is kind of just live drafting it up today. So let's bring it. I know this pick, Fernando Mendoza. That's pretty self-explanatory. Oh man, I don't have to sweat too hard for that one. Whew, getting a little bit tricky. You know what? This one's easy too. Arvell Reese, edge rusher. Ruben Bain would be good too. I'd be pretty down with Ruben Bain. He's a heck of a football player. But Reese, get him off the edge, man. Dude's a freakazoid, and he ran at 4.46, and he's got that power, and he's just a speed to power guy right now. But as he puts on some more technical nuance, I think he can really be a dominator as the pass. And we need some dominators up on our defensive line right now. And AG on to the Arizona Cardinals. I'm actually going to switch things up a little bit. I'm going to go Ruben Bain here. I know they need offensive line really bad. Maybe they try to work back some sort of a deal to maneuver. It is just going to be challenging because, I mean, I don't know. We'll see how things work. I think what's happening is teams are getting desperate, so they're trading a lot of draft capital to get proven players because they don't really trust this draft. So I don't know if we're going to see a whole ton of maneuvering on draft day. I think we're getting a lot of the trades in before that. I'm going Ruben Bain. Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's bring the Bain pain up into the Arizona Cardinals. I figure Bain could play across their defensive line, and the way they could work that, I mean, what? They got Browning off there. They've got Collins. They've got Zaven Collins. They got Josh Sweat. They've drafted Oregon dude. What was his? Yeah, they got him from last draft. But, I think Bain is just kind of a difference maker. You know what I mean? Not kind of. He is a difference maker. And if you're a fan of Batman, you know about Bane. He was a pretty bad man out there. The Titans, number 4 overall. Tennessee, very interesting situation for Tennessee. But I still think their biggest need is a weapon on offense. I think Jeremiah Love would be a great pick. I'm going to go ahead and take a wide receiver. And I know that this one seems crazy and psych, right? Of course, you're saying to yourself, oh, well, this guy, right? He was staring at the media people, like giving them the eyes. And he was talking about things and he said a lot. That's the only thing I will say. But other than that, I don't care, man. He was locked in. He was locked in, and he's really just probably nervous and all those sort of things. Hey, you're trying to get drafted. It's not. I mean, he doesn't need to try. He's an absolute stud. I think he's a complete difference maker at the wide receiver position. He's my number 1 wide receiver in this class, and the Tennessee Titans need an upgrade in that wide receiving room. I mean, Chamari is a good returner, and I think he can step up and be a good wide receiver 3, maybe wide receiver 2. You never know, and grow along. You got Alec Manor and Ridley, but am I throwing out riddles? Is this Batman again? No, swear to me. But that's the way I'm going there. Giants, number 5 overall. I'm actually going to go a little different this route. I'm going to go ahead and take Mansour Delane from LSU. Also changing this vibe up a little bit because, wait, what if they say to themselves, what if we go out, we rock up, and we lose out on Cordell Flott, and it looks like he's going to get outpriced in the market. So let's do something a little different. Because John Harbaugh, it seems like he always loves to draft corners in the first round. I think Delane has some of the best tape in this class. Corners, they're going to go high, and it would not shock me if this is a little bit of a nobody expected it sort of pick, and then boom, it happens sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's just, there's always something like that. On to the Cleveland Browns here at number 6, Sonny Styles. Carson Wessinger and Sonny Styles. Oh, you already know. I'm really thinking it up today. But I'm actually going to take Carnell Tate, wide receiver from the Ohio State University. They also need a weapon. They need offensive line really bad too. But they did get Titus Howard over at right tackle. And I'm just maybe avoiding some conflict here. Sometimes it's tricky, even though I think Mauanoa is the top tackle in this draft and a really, really good one at that. And I still would say go with that, right? If I'm doing what I would do, I would just go with Francis Mauanoa here and lock that in because they need good offensive linemen. Either if he even plays guard or whatever, Fanu, all those are all options on the table. But I also think they need a good number 1 weapon. They've been searching for it for a very, very long time. And there is still a drop off between Carnell Tate and some of those other guys. And I'm sure that, guys like Omar Cooper, Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, some of these guys are going to be really good wide receivers. Absolutely. But Carnell Tate, I feel like, yeah, he is a guy that comes out there and is a 1,000-yard type wide receiver, and they certainly need that. So I'm going to go Carnell Tate here. The Washington Commanders here at number 7, and we're commanding you to get some help on the defense, right? Let's go get ourselves a stud, whether it's David Bailey, Sonny Styles. I guess I wouldn't rule out like Jeremiah Love as a sneaky pick here. Don't think they need to do that, but it wouldn't shock me if they did something like that. It really wouldn't. Actually, the more I think about it, it's kind of interesting. But Caleb Downs is depending on his knee scenario. Got to watch out for what they do in free agency. I'm gonna say since they've really, it seems like the rumor mill right now is they're looking at guys like Adafe Owe or Aboye Mafe. Maybe they go out and get a pass rusher. So you know what? Let's go and improve that linebacking position. Go out in a Hall of Famer type athletic profile, Megatron of the linebackers, Optimus Prime. Autobots transform. We're getting ourselves a stud up there in our linebacking core. Sonny Styles changing the game. On to number 8 here, and the New Orleans Saints. What should we do? Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do some trades here. Let's make this happen. What should we do, team? Oh yeah, I think we'll go Miami. I think Miami will be going because you're trying to jump the Chiefs. So we're trying to because there's really one pass rusher. You talk about the top 3 pass rushers, or even a tackle. Maybe somebody jumps up for a tackle here, which maybe the Raiders would get interested in. And they don't need a tackle. I think Grants can start there. But I am going to trade up with the Miami Dolphins. They've got some extra round 3 picks that we can make do with and come up for a talent that I'm like, yeah, we don't want to pass up on something like that because there is a drop off between this next guy and the other dude. So that's why I'm looking at, we'll go 87 there, pulling out the Zohan powers, and let's go grab David Bailey, the edge rusher from Texas Tech for Jeff Hafley. Now going to be running that the coach, he's the coach and helping out this defense, trying to get ourselves a stud pass rusher to go along with Chop Robinson. Chop. Number 9, and the Kansas City Chiefs here. I'm going to go ahead and take Francis Mauigoa. I know Jeremiah Love's a great football player. I just think that the Chiefs are in a position where trying to find a big time expensive position like tackle, edge rusher is kind of key, or wide receiver. Those are huge areas this team has to nail this offseason. So it is very challenging, but I'm going to go with Francis Mauigoa. Jalen Moore, I will say this, Moore was not bad, and I am shaking it up a little bit here by drafting Mauigoa. I just feel like Mauigoa is that big of a upgrade here in best player type of available, except for Jeremiah Love. I mean, Caleb Downs, you can make the argument the knee situation has to be vetted and all those things, but I think Mauigoa is certainly one of the top 3 best players available on the board right there. And out of those positions, running back, as safety, and tackle, that's the most expensive position. And Chiefs, budget-wise, got to look at all those things and making these. I mean, that's the reason why they had to let go of Trent McDuffie, because of how expensive. And Moore, he still would compete, and you've had injuries. Simmons has had some injuries, obviously, so having yourself a good swing tackle, still very important with Moore. And they got Eze Paulé, too, and Godrich. But on to the Bengals here. I'm not going to look any further than this. This is just one where you run to the table, and Caleb Downs is the selection. He's a great football player, and the Bengals need an impact at safety. It's a huge problem. They need a reliable player in that back end. Downs is going to do that. Saints here at number 11. I know that Jeremiah Love's still going to be screaming on people's boards here. How can you pass up on Jeremiah Love? Are you crazy? What are you doing, right? I'm passing up on him. I'm going with Spencer Fanu. I'm going to go ahead and take ourselves an interior offensive lineman. He could play center, could play guard for this New Orleans Saints team. Gives you that flexibility with McCoy and his injury history. I just think that would be exactly the type of player that they need with the flexibility that Fanu has. And Fanu's another one for me that I think is just a phenomenal player. You could easily make the argument and sell me that he's a better football player than Mauigoa, and it depends on what you want too from your team and your offensive line. But Fanu is a dominator, man, and the way he moves is different. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in Fanu there, and it's gonna probably upset some people. Like, you passed up on Jeremiah Love after trading down. I know, back-to-back offensive linemen, but Fanu can just continue to add to that offensive line for Shuck, and that's a huge deal for me, is improving that offensive line, because they're still a little bit behind the 8 ball. They were getting a lot better, and they are getting a lot better, but I love it. Jeremiah Love still on the board here, and you know what? Not much longer. There's a team right here that I'm looking to trade. And for the Cowboys, it makes a lot of sense in my opinion because they really could use a day 2 type of pick. So that is where we are going to be looking here in, let's see, here they're recommending me things, but I don't know where it's all at. There they are, Vikings. I'm like, I can't find you. I can't find it. I am going to give up one of these third rounders. We'll go 82 for the Cowboys to move up those 6 spots. It's 6 spots, so I think a third rounder's fair. And we're going to go select Jeremiah Love, who's going to help ease that loss from Aaron Jones and give themselves a star running back. And they may have to go get a veteran quarterback in free agency, but you add in a dynamic running back for Kevin O'Connell. I just think it makes so much sense in that offense scheme fit in all those dream fits. On to the Rams here. You know what, Kenyon Sadiq? That would be actually just like one of my favorites. You know what I mean? Like Sadiq, he actually kind of is kind of the best player available too right now. So I really don't hate that. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go Dylan Thieneman here. I'm going to add in some more secondary pieces for this team. Thieneman is also a fantastic football player. Dude's a star athlete. You know, he's Westfield. You know what I mean? Westfield represent. I'm a Hoosier all day. Westfield High School myself. Dylan Thieneman. I mean, he's a lot younger than I am, but anyway, go ahead and rock out there to the Rams, getting themselves a stud safety to complete that room with now yourself. You got your Cam Kitchens and Dylan Thieneman. And Thieneman's going to give you some serious range in that back end. On to the Raiders, and things get very interesting for the Raiders now, and we could just go ahead and take Kenyon Sadiq here too. Brock Bowers, Kenyon Sadiq, and Michael Mayer. Just, oh man, 3 tight ends. Let's roll it up in here. But no, I am going to look at this and say to myself, let's add a star. Let's add a star corner in here. Let's go Jermon McCoy. And their secondary needs some major improvements, some major overhauls. I think McCoy is a top 10 talent in this draft class. You could also look at Tyson here, would be very interesting. I'm going to go with McCoy, though. Lock in a star corner. And I'm willing to take a chance here with this pick because I feel like he is just that good of a player and prospect. You got to get those medicals checked up. But at 14, the value of that just makes too much sense for me to complete their secondary with a star. On to the Bucks here at number 15 overall. And the Bucks, we are going to, with Mike Evans possibly on the way out, I'm just going to rock in Kenyon Sadiq. Make this one pretty simple. I think Sadiq is, he's a freak athlete. He's maybe not quite Vernon Davis level because Vernon was like 10 more pounds. So I mean, they're very close. They're both really, really good athletes, great receiving options. Sadiq is a good blocker. I think he's a better blocker than Vernon Davis. But I mean, I don't really remember that honestly that much. So I'm probably speaking out of my butt on that one. But anyway, Sadiq certainly adds some help in the offense and give you another weapon in here. On to number 16, the New York Jets. Jets, Jets, baby. What am I doing here? Well, a couple of different options that I would look at here. Wide receiver. I'd look at corner. I'd look at safety. I'd look at linebacker. I'd look at edge rusher. No, we already went edge rusher. I'd look at defensive tackle. So maybe a couple more than just 1 or 2 positions, right? We need a lot of help. We need help everywhere we can get. I am going to lock in Jordan Tyson. I still think Jordan Tyson's an amazing player, and he would be my next best available player on the board here. Just the medicals are a big thing that you have to check up on, and I know that situation is a little tricky. And for me, I don't know how things are going to work out there, but strictly best player available sort of thing. We get some offensive help with Arvell Reese, and now we add in some help on the offense here with Jordan Tyson. We get some help on defense. Now we had some help on offense. I think I said that wrong, but either which way, there we go. On to the Detroit Lions here. And I am going to take, here we go. We're going to zoom out here. I'm going to go take a tackle. I'm going to go take Caden Proctor, one of a dude that I think is just fantastic of a football player. And he could also play guard for them early on. And at the end of the day, they still need to improve their offensive line. It's a big thing they're going to have to target. Even, and Decker, I think he got released, right? He's asking for a release, pardon me. So let's go ahead and get ourselves an offensive tackle. We got to do that. Caden Proctor, the CROSBY packages up there. We won't even need to have unfortunately, Dan Skipper, but and he's a fun player. But now you add in Proctor in here who could do that, but also be your starting left tackle. Cowboys, though, here at number 18 overall. I'm going anything on defense, right? We're taking Akeem Mesidor here, edge rusher, Miami. Let's juice up the edge. They absolutely have to. Like defense. On to number 19 for the Carolina Panthers. I'm also going to go defense here. I think that linebacker is very much in play, but I really want to go and get Avion Terrell. I just think he's kind of the best available player at this point. Put him in the slot. Mike Jackson's coming up on a contract. They may not be able to pay him if he keeps balling out in the way he's playing. So, I mean, they have some money, so they could do it if need be. But Avion Terrell builds out the secondary a little bit more, and I love him to be able to lock in right away in the slot, and then could be their outside cornerback at the future on the Cowboys. And we got ourselves some pass rush help. Let's go get ourselves that stud in the middle of the defense at linebacker. We're going back to Hookem, and we are going to get ourselves Anthony Hill Jr., Overshown Hill Jr., a free agent addition that gets confidence in that linebacking room. I know you might be saying, well, you got C.J. Allen here. I mean, Josiah Trout's a really good football player. Anthony Hill's my number 2 guy. I could see him being the best linebacker when it's all said and done from this class. It wouldn't shock me. I mean, I think Styles is really good. I think he could be a Hall of Fame player. Hill could be. I don't see why he couldn't be a Hall of Fame player. This guy's got legit sideline to sideline range. He's a ferocious blitzer, great run defender. He's got some cover skills as well. I think he will naturally improve in zone as he gets more developing and all those sort of things. I just think he's such a good football player. Big Anthony Hill fan. So I'm locking that one in. I think he's going to be top talent. On to the Pittsburgh Steelers, 21 here. We need wide receiver. We need wide receiver, and we could really use some wide receivers. But you know what? We're not going that route with this one. We're going to change it up. Isaac Samalu. Pardon me. Oh, my goodness. I sound like I'm Porky Pig. I'm stuttering so hard. Isaac Samalu. You know when you just can't say something? I can't say it. I can't tell. But sorry about that. Unbelievable. I'm really bugging up his name up in here. But we're going to go and take Vega Ioane. Go ahead and continue that offensive line build. And I just feel like that Ioane was kind of the best player. He's the best player available here and somebody that they can upgrade their offensive line. They're just a day one starter for them. On to the 22, where you got the Chargers, who probably a little disappointed that he's not there because they need to also improve their offensive line, and that makes things a little bit more difficult here for them. But I'm going to go ahead and lock in Caleb Banks here from Florida to help out improve their defensive line. And that guy's got a lot of upside. He just got to reach that potential. He can really affect the passer, and he's got those long arms, and he's a really good athlete. Philadelphia Eagles here at 23, and the Eagles are always such an interesting team on what they're going to do. Howie Roseman, you know he loves the trenches. It's just always a thing for him. He's been drafting more secondary pieces and whatnot early in the draft and the value on that and everything. But I'm going to go and take Monroe Freeland here, who is on the board. He has right tackle experience. I also could see him playing guard for this team if they need him to. He would basically be their 6th offensive tackle going into next season. But once again, for Howie Roseman, that's extremely valuable. That's something that seems like he doesn't have a problem spending a first-round pick on. And then he would be their long-term right tackle for Lane Johnson. So Freeland helps you fill in if Dickerson's injured or, they've had a lot of injuries on that offensive line. And the fact of the matter is, it's something that took a step back. And having a guy like Monroe Freeland in there, I think, does give them a little bit much-needed help. 24, this is an easy pick for me. I'm going to go get an offensive lineman. We got Carnell Tate. We got our wide receiver. Let's go get ourselves that true left tackle, Caleb Lomu from Utah, and plug in some offensive lineup. I know DeJuan Jones, maybe he comes back and ends up at least competing for that, and you can figure something out there. But I think Lomu is going to be a big-time addition for them in that offensive line. And worst comes to worst, put Lomu in inside a guard. You can figure some things out there. They need help on the offensive line. To 25, and hey, they may have some questions on the offensive line here too, but hey, they just traded for Garrett Bradbury to be their center there. So maybe we look at offensive line on day 2. Let's go get ourselves some help on the defense side of the ball. I'm going to go snag Peter Woods here, who's still available. I think Volk would be a really good pick too for them, and it wouldn't shock me if that's the way they go. But I think Peter Woods, really good football player, has that explosiveness, can be another pass rusher up in that defensive line. I think he's a strong run defender. The production this season took a bit of a downturn, but ultimately I just think he's too good of a player here to pass up at 25. Number 26 here in the Buffalo Bills. I'm actually going to, linebacker is interesting here, but I'm going to line up Keldrick Folk, mainly because I just feel like he's the type of guy that Brandon Beam looks at and just values heavily. You could even make a comp to him like Gregory Rousseau, a little bit of a heavier Gregory Rousseau coming out. There's some similarities to him. Maybe he doesn't have the fluidity, but he can run down the middle of you with some explosiveness, and he's got the size and all those characteristics. So there are some similarities to them. Epineza, you can move on from, whether give him an extension, all those sort of things. You did draft Landon Jackson, but the injury situation there, Von Miller, yeah, I mean, all those things you've tried in the past. Let's go ahead and find our long-term answer now and go snagging Keldrick Folk here. Number 27, the 49ers. San Francisco in a position where I think that wide receiver is a big area that we can try to address. And Omar Cooper seems like, yeah, I know he's going to get, we keep talking about the Debo Samuel, but, hey, I mean, he plays a little bit like that. And I think he's a solid route runner as well. He showed off that he's got enough speed to get the job done. And we're going to add him right in here to the fold. On to the Houston Texans, number 28 overall. It's offensive line, it's defensive line. Those are the two big areas. And the guy that I think is in that category between the positions that they really need would be Blake Miller here. And I'm a big fan. I've been watching him. I actually just started watching more of his film, and impressive guy. He's certainly got the lateral length or the pocket range to play tackle. He's got the size. I think his hand technique is pretty solid. Sometimes he comes a little bit low at times. It can be more of a catcher per se. But overall, I was really, really impressed with, and so far, just continuing to go through this film, I actually want to try to get a breakdown on him. But I think Blake Miller, great right tackle for them, plug and play starter after losing Titus Howard. And then we go on. I mean, Trent Brown, they may re-sign him and whatnot, and that's fine. They could still use a long-term answer there. Number 28 or 29 now, and it's Kansas City Chiefs. First pick, we got Francis Mauigoa. I do want to get some other wide receiver is going to be something to keep an eye out on here. So I may double dip on that side of the ball, and maybe they go defense in terms of free agency. So I'm just going to go and add in Denzel Boston from Washington. They haven't really gotten this type of wide receiver in their offense, but Boston gives him some more size. He's actually a pretty good route runner. I don't have a problem with his route running. Separation, I didn't see any real issues with the separation. I mean, he's not perfect at that, but I certainly think he can separate. So I don't see this guy as like somebody who's like unfluid enough to get separation at a consistent enough level. And he can win off the line too. I think he's got the physicality to win off the line and enough quickness to get the job done. Let's get ourselves a top flight wide receiver. So offense tackle, wide receiver, they'll double dip on the offensive action, which has been a bit of a nemesis for the Chiefs in those two areas, is finding some core players in that department. On to number 30 and the Denver Broncos here. I'm going to go lock in a studded linebacker, Hosea Trotter from Missouri. He is got that just unbelievable. If you talk about the determination, you talk about that ability to be a hammer in the middle of the defense, and something I think Sean Payton really is going to value. Hosea Trotter is that guy. He just really is. Coverage stuff he's gonna have to work on a little bit, but I do think in this scheme he can. That's not is going to be a big of an issue. You can just line him up man to man, do stuff like that. But Trotter is an absolute monster of a menacer downhill player. He might be the best in the class, strictly as a downhill tackler. He's so good in that department. So add him in here. They've had a lot of injuries at the linebacker position. Find yourself a stud. On to number 31. I don't think that's early either for Trotter. I think he's that good of a football player. On to number 31, the New England Patriots. I am going, since they did let go of Diggs, let's add some wide receiver. And we're going to go get a guy who's somewhat similar, right? Casey Concepcion from Texas A&M to help fill that need and improve the offense a little bit more, and adding yourself a dynamic playmaker for Drake May. The offensive line definitely in consideration still here too. They did trade Garrett Bradbury, so that's something to keep an eye on. But I feel like Jared Wilson moves into center, and then they fill out that guard position. Now we go ahead and go on to Seattle here at number 32 overall, and I am going to take since the wide receivers have kind of come off the board here, I'm going to go ahead and lock in a corner. I'm going to go get Brandon Cisse from South Carolina. They've had some success drafting some South Carolina guys. So, adding Cisse with Witherspoon on the outside and then an Ime Warrior in the slot. I think that's pretty sweet, man. It is. Jets here back on the clock. And you know what? I think maybe go corner here as well. But we also could really use a linebacker. CJ Allen's on the board. And I think we could really use someone like that in the middle of our defense. Safety is a big need too. Mainly, yeah, I can't pass up on McNeil Warren here. So let's go get ourselves a star safety. He would be a big addition for us. Give us their like that interception robber role that he is so good at. Like that's his game, man. He's got that explosiveness and he's got the eyes. Then we go on, a good tackler too. On to number 34 and the Arizona Cardinals here. First pick, we got Ruben Bain in a different pick. I want to get some offense here. All right, let's make sure we're getting some offense. Let's get some offensive line help. I'm gonna go ahead and take MAXX Ahonachor, the dinosaur, going to be that plug and play right tackle for them in that case scenario. You think he's got some work to do, and there'll be some lumps and growing pains and whatnot. Maybe sign a free agent to, give him some ease into there and do those sort of things. But certainly a guy that I like down the line with some talent and still young to the game. On to the Titans, number 4 here. Or sorry, 35. Then number 4, we got Lemon. Let's go get some help on defense. Let's go get a corner. Let's go get Colton Hood. Yeah, let's go lock in Colton Hood, cornerback for Tennessee. They need cornerback really, really bad. So, yes, sir. Get Robert Saleh, that dude on the perimeter. Hood. Onto the hood of the car. But onto the Raiders here after going Fernando Mendoza, Gerard McCoy. Now with this pick, so many different areas once again that this team could go. But as I say before, they're just kind of in a best player available scenario. And I think CJ Allen would be a great add to their linebacking core for sure. Depends on who's back. Is Devin Lloyd back? Or sorry, Devin Bush back? Or Devin White, sorry. There's too many Devins, too many Devin linebackers. Caden McDonald's one I do all the time, I know, but let's go ahead and get some edge talent. All right, I'll shake it up for you guys because it is a little repetitive, I'm sure. I am going to go and get Malachi Lawrence. There's some fun edge rushers on the board. I think it'd be for me between R. Mason Thomas. Oh, Cassius Howell's available. Well, I'm glad I looked here at the board because that's a run to the table scenario that Howell is still available. Now screaming off the edge to help replace MAXX Crosby. And I think he's a perfect fit for Rob Leonard, who's going to be the new defensive coordinator from them, who's going to probably play a lot of 3-4 type of defense. I'm sure he'll play a little mix, Nichols still like 70% of the time anyway. But basically could be their Nick Bonito type of this defense, in my opinion. Dang, I just still can't believe he was there. Giants, though, another guy that I still can't believe he's here is CJ Allen. We got Mansour Delane. Let's go get ourselves 2 cornerstones on the defense. Dude, that defense is going to be scary for John Harbaugh out here now with Allen up on that linebacking core with Bobby Okereke and Mansour Delane at corner. Just trying to build this defense up, right? I think that now I get it. Offense would have to be big in free agency in this case scenario. And you're saying, well, wide receivers, something that we have to look at too. And that's true. Probably should have considered that a little bit more, but I just think CJ Allen, at that point, I think CJ Allen's too good of a player to pass up on. So it is what it is. You can make the argument wide receiver, offensive line might be a bigger position to address. Make sure you're getting talent around Jackson Dart. We'll see what they do in free agency because that'll change some things too. And this pick here for Houston is too easy. We're going to go Caden McDonald. They could use a tough-nosed guy to go along with Tommy Toki on that defensive interior. McDonald screams that. He seems like a D'Amico Ryans tough-nosed guy that can play strong in the run game and add a little bit after the quarterback as a pass rusher too. Browns, we went offense in the first round heavily, very heavily, and now there's a guy that I love here. It's D'Angelo Ponds, Indiana Hoosier. Put him in the slot, and you got yourself some fun action up there in that secondary here with Tyson and Ward, and then Ponds in the slot. Oh, baby, that's what I'm talking about. On to number 40, and Kansas City Chiefs here. We went Mawanoa, we went Boston. Okay, let's get some defense. Okay, now enough's enough. Let's get some defense. They continue to address cornerback later in drafts. I feel like that's just been their MO, more or less. So I'm going to go grab a talented pass rusher here, all right? And that's something that they absolutely need. So taking a look at the board in edge rusher land right now and who's available, I am going to take Malachi Lawrence, pass rusher from UCF. I know TJ Parker's here, and a lot of people say, oh, TJ Parker's available. How do you pass on him? Are you blind? Well, sometimes my vision isn't great, but luckily I still have sight. I know other people out there that don't. That's tough, but hopefully, they'll one day they'll be able to get a cure for that. That'd be actually it's something they really, hopefully one day we'll be able to get out and help out. But Anyway, going back to sorry, getting real dark over here. Jeez Louise. But going back to the mock draft here, we gotta bring up the spirits. Anyway, 41 for the Bengals. We got Caleb Downs with their first pick. I would love to get like a strong nose defensive tackle, somebody help them out, and also get some pressure after the quarterback. I think Miller would be a great addition to that defensive tackle position because Hill's not really a 3-down player at this point anymore. He's more of a run defender only type of guy. So Christian Miller is a guy who's good at the run game, but also can get after the quarterback. He's got some explosiveness, and I think it's a little bit underrated with the way Georgia used him at like a nose the entire season. On to number 42 and the New Orleans Saints. We got Spencer Fanu in a shocker, right, in a trade down, but we were able to pick up an extra third rounder, and that's going to allow them to continue to invest and get more talent elsewhere on this roster. This pick, though, I'm going to go add in a nice pass catcher in Jeremy Bernard. I want to make sure that we improve this offense enough, and you see with these young quarterbacks, get yourself some help on the offense. And the defense, well, we got to improve that too. Having 2 third-round picks, we can address some of those things in free agency and all that. Jeremy Bernard is gonna be that nice number 2 guy there with Chris Olave. And on to the Miami Dolphins here at number 43 in their first pick. We traded up. We got David Bailey. Yeah, we had to give up a third-round pick. I just feel like it was kind of worth it. You know what I mean? And hey, I feel like I'm a little kid in candy shop. We got extra third-round picks to throw a little chump change at. I know, I gotta be careful. I will see here. I want to get a corner. I think Chris Johnson. I think Chris Johnson might be a first round pick. We'll just be real after the combine. His tape's really good. I want to add in some more studs into this defense. So we got David Bailey, we got Chris Johnson, locking it up in here, trying to help out, stop the New York Jets and their high powered offense with Jordan Tyson, somebody to throw to, hopefully. But speaking of the Jets, what am I going to do here? Well, I think you look at linebacker, you look inside linebacker, should I say. I think that another area to watch out for here would be possibly even, I mean, quarterback. Do we go Ty Simpson? No, I don't. I'm not going Ty Simpson. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Okay, I can't. I'm a Jets fan. I do like Ty Simpson, though, at least on day 2. I think day 2 makes a lot of sense. And I'm not opposed to that actually here, okay? I'm not opposed to that. So maybe we'll go ahead and lock that in. Linebacker Jacob Rodriguez, though, would be kind of fun. I'm not going to lie. Would be kind of fun. We'll go Ty Simpson. A little bit of realism in here. It's gonna keep the realism, the realistic rebuild. But moving on here to the Baltimore Ravens now, 45. And they were trading their first round pick, of course, to get MAXX CROSBY. And now with this one, right, things are interesting. Defensive tackle very much in play. Offensive line very much in play. But we shapeshift. We're going to go do something different in this draft because one thing to consider, I think Emory Jones, your hope is that he fills one of those spots as your starter. Voorhees, I don't know if they're going to be ready to just replace him at this point. We'll see about Taylor Linderbaum. All right. It's the thing, the deals and all those things are in process, and maybe he comes back, maybe he doesn't. They're going to sign somebody if they let him go. They're not just going to do nothing, in my opinion. So I am going to add in another wide receiver here, all right? I'm going to add in a wide receiver, another sort of weapon into this offense. And since they got MAXX CROSBY to help on defense, let's get some help on offense for Lamar Jackson. Get Zay Flowers, Malachi Fields, and then Rashad Bateman. He basically would be their DeAndre Hopkins replacement. Tough hands can be that outside weapon for Lamar Jackson. So boom and shakalaka right up in there. Something a little bit different, a little unique take. Maybe we go tight end there instead. You never know. Speaking of tight, we went tight end with Kenny and Sadiq for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's go get an edge rusher. All right, let's go and tack up into this room and get it. Let's go TJ Parker. Yeah, at this point, I'm cool with TJ Parker. Good football player, and Bucks could certainly use a guy off the edge with Yaya Diaby. Now we go on to the Indianapolis Colts here at 47, and Colts, I really like Lee Hunter here. I think linebacker too, very much in play like Jacob Rodriguez. It depends on what Jermaine Pratt does, but I want to go ahead and take Jake. Man, Jake is a great play. Jake from State Farm, of course, but he is so good, man. He's got this footwork is unbelievable. You see him just like effortlessly, like butterly smooth. He's just like in motion. You're like, oh, you feel like you're watching him like 60 frames a second or 120 frames a second. On to, I don't know, that's how you describe linebackers, but it is now, right? We're using 120 frames a second out here with Jacob Rodriguez. On to number 48, Atlanta Falcons. Yes, I love receiver for them. They need to add another playmaker in here. don't be shocked. I mean, corner could certainly come into play here too. It wouldn't shock me if they drafted a linebacker if that's the best player available, depending on how their future outlooks with Caden Ellis. But yeah, no, we'll see what happens. They can even draft a future right tackle if they're the best player available too. That's something to watch out for because that's the blind side for Michael Penix. But I am going to go get a wide receiver, and I am going to go add in Dion Burks, the speedster. Branch is also a really good option too. Dion Burks, Branch, both really good options. We'll go with the upside with Branch here, even though Burks is really good too. I mean, I don't know. You flip a coin, man. I went Burks last time, so we'll 7-6-7 it up in here. A little juggling action with the Zachariah Branch. On to the Minnesota Vikings here. And first pick, we got Jeremiah Love. Little trade up, okay? We had to give him a third rounder, but we got two of them. So that's my little excuse there for it. With this one, though, let's go ahead and get an impact at safety here and get themselves somebody to stud into the back end. And I am going to select, some good options still available, but let's go ahead and take Kamari Ramsey. Kamari Ramsey is a great football player and certainly will help them out day one in the back end. Oh, Halsey, Jesse Smith, those are all good football players. But I think Ramsey really fits the book because he can come down in the box and play a little bit of there. A little quarters look that Flores likes on it too, and a really instinctual guy too. He's just an instinctual guy, which is also, I think, something Flores loves in that defense. Got to be instinctual on that back end. Number 50 for the Detroit Lions. Let's get some help on the defense now, all right? I think the two areas you look at are either corner or edge rusher. And we're going edge. We're going to go ahead and take Zion Young, the big fella from Mizzou. He's going to be the wildcat there for this football. Ooh, Gabe Ackes is a great player. There's a lot of good edge rushers. Derek Moore, Michigan. Ooh, a Wolverine. Mason Thomas is still available too. Holy mackerel. You know what? Holy cannoli. We're going to go ahead and Mason Thomas. He's available. He's probably going to go in the first round. Oh, baby. That's crazy. Unbelievable. Carolina Panthers. We're also going to go edge rusher here. We got to get these edge rushers off the board. That's why I'm going with them. No, I'm joking, but I do think we need to get some edge rushers off the board. I am going to add in. Man. Once again, Romello Heights. Fun. I'm going to go in as Zion Young here. We're not letting him fall any further than this. He's a heck of a football player, and put him up in there with Nick Scorton on a 2, and Pritsu Mamilan, of course, too. And we'll see about Pat Jones, Pat Jones, if he can kind of get going there. On to the Green Bay Packers. The Packers. Lee Hunter is going to be the guy up on that defensive tier. They need a run defender. They need somebody who can be a big guy up on that interior. Let's go Pittsburgh now. And with Pittsburgh, they got Vega Ioane. Let's get a wide receiver. In this case scenario, I would say what you'd want to do is you'd want to double dip wide receiver between the second and third round, which is totally fine. I think there's some really, really good wide receivers available still. Like there's plenty of options. This class is pretty dang loaded as well. So I feel pretty confident we can get some much needed help here. And I am going to select, let's see, what kind of wide receiver am I looking for? You know what? Let's go. Antonio Williams is good. Dion Burks is really good. I mean, you got Chris Brazzell there. As I said before, it kind of depends on what type of flavor you're looking for, but I'm going to go ahead and Dion Burks, the electric speed guy. And then basically what you want to do with the other, like the third round pick, you want to get a guy like Elijah Surratt maybe in there, somebody like that, or Chris Bell, are all good options. Let's move on to the Philadelphia Eagles here. And I am going to... Actually, this is an easy one. Keith Abney's still available. Let's rock that one in. That's a no-brainer selection in my opinion. He comes into there, get that legion of Eagles or whatever the heck we want to call it out here. It's like a flock Eagles secondary with Abney and Mitchell and DeJean. Man, that's a pretty good room right there. On to the Chargers at 55, and for the Chargers here, let's go and take Emmanuel Pregnon because we got defensive tackle, we got Caleb Banks, so let's try to improve the interior of the offensive line. That has to be addressed here. Basant's is a really good football player too. I mean, either one of those guys I think would be fantastic. Fantastic. On to the Jags here at 56, pardon me. Defense tackle is a big need for them. I don't know if I'm going to... I do like Dominic Orange, but we're going to go ahead and go a different route here just because I think, in terms of, best player available and all those sort of things, we'll kind of shake that up just a bit. And let's go ahead and Jake Goulday here at linebacker. Devin Lloyd's going to get paid bucks, right? So we'll go ahead and add Jake Goulday in here. A really good linebacker and a day one starter for them. On to the Bears here at number 57. We got Peter Woods. Let's go ahead and let's get some more defense. I'm going to actually double dip on the defense. Since linebacker's kind of been picked apart here because I could totally see them going linebacker. Let's go safety. And let's get AJ Halsey here to come in to that secondary. And he's got that ball hawking ability and big hitting mentality. He's got to wrap up tacklers more consistently, but he showed off he has enough speed to get the job done. Let's go on here to the 49ers. And first pick, we got Omar Cooper. And now, I want to add some offensive line if we can. Tackle would definitely be in consider. Ooh, actually, no. Basantes. Let me just make sure there's no tackles that are crazy available. Oh, yeah. No. We're going Basantes. We're gonna go take Chase Basantes here. Easy slam dunk pick for me at this spot to address that left guard position. Now let's go on to 59, the Houston Texans. We got tackle, we got defensive tackle as well. So 2 tackles, just a little different sides of the football field. Now I would like to let's go ahead and get some edge talent here for the future, because that is something that they kind of have to look at, is getting some depth. They don't really have any depth right now, and Daniil Hunter going to a contract year. So I'm going to go get Gabe Akis from Illinois to be that third edge rusher, and he might end up being their number 2 down the line. Then we go into the Bears, especially contracts. Daniil Hunter's going to get paid big bucks. Bears, this was a trade down, or sorry, this was the DJ Moore trade that they got. So now we have an extra pick at our disposal that we can use sabotageously. It's not a word. I'm going to go get an edge rusher here. All right, I want to continue to bolster the defensive line, and still some really good football players. Make sure I'm not missing anybody here. I am going to get, I think we'll go Derek Moore here. I think Derek Moore would be a nice addition. And clearly they were in on the MAXX CROSBY deal. So it's like they're trying to get more pass rush. So we'll do what we can here. We get some help between Peter Woods, Derek Moore, and then we got a safety in AJ Halsey. The Rams here now, and with their first pick, we got Dylan Thieneman to help out that secondary even more. So now they got Trent McDuffie and Dylan Thieneman up in there. Getting scary. And now we should go Eli Stowers, right? But man, me and the tight ends, I want to give them another tight end. So much fun. But I want to get some offense help. Let's get some wide receiver here. And I will go ahead and Chris Bell's interesting. Elijah Sarrat. Oh, actually, I'm gonna go Antonio Williams. I think Antonio Williams would be a really, really nice fit for them. Really good yak guy, good route runner as well. And I think he'd be a nice little fit with Puka Nacua for the long haul and stuff like that. I mean, if they want a little bit of a bigger wide receiver, I think Stribling, Surratt makes a lot of sense from Chris Bell. There's a lot of different options, but Williams, really tough-nosed guy. He's not a bad blocker either, and that's going to be something they value quite a bit. Let's go on to the Broncos here, and we got Josiah Trotter with their first pick. So I do want to get some offensive help here. I think Stowers is kind of like that. It just seems like a Sean Payton or like a Kyle Shanahan type of player that he goes after, sort of thing, that they can use him in these creative ways. And Stowers is the type of dude that if there's anybody in this draft class who has like that Harold Fanning, of course, Kenyon Speak too is going to be really good, but I think Stowers could have some of that impact early on just because he's such a good receiving option. And then on to the New England Patriots. And first pick, we got KC Concepcion. And now with this pick, I am going to try to get some defense help. Let's get some pass rusher in here. Romello Height is a freaking good player, and we're going to go get some juice off the edge here. Romello Height is going to be the selection here for the Baltimore Ravens. Now let's go on to the Seattle Seahawks, and let's get some offense. We got Cisse in the first round. Let's go get running back. That's right. Dude, oh my gosh. Darian Price and Mike Washington are available. Are you crazy? I am crazy. Let's go Jadarian. I still would put Jadarian over here at number 2 in the running back scenario, but jeez Louise, he was on the board. That's a little bit of a crying shame. Well, that's going to do it though here for the mock draft. Oh, here's a recap too. So let's, if you want to pause it or do whatever you need to do, definitely feel free to do that. Oh, we got some awards. Sorry, I'm distracted. Oh, what is that? Wow, I didn't realize that. I will say PFF, I got to give them credit because I know a lot of people give them flack for this and that, but I think they've done a fantastic job with some of these things. They have like these games and stuff too, which I wouldn't mind doing. I'm going to have to hit up my brother or something to do some of these games. Or if you guys want to do some games, I'm serious. They got like these competitions with mock drafts, and you can now do mock drafts together with people as well. So it's really cool. They got like leaderboards and stuff. So, hey, it may not be something we do all the time, but it's certainly something. And PFF, I got to give, definitely they're working hard on some of this stuff. So just got to say that because I think a lot of people give them a lot of crap, but it can't be perfect. Yes, they're a company. They make money and all those sort of things. It's business. I'm not got business, I know, but with my degree to it, I'm terrible at it. But Anyway, yeah, all that hoopla out of the business here, and hope you guys have a good day. And let me know. I'll talk to you really soon, though.